The big one is Starfield.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, definitely need to acknowledge
It
that
was
because
a
it was a
big
long
one.
presentation.
So long.
As someone who has had zero interest in Starfield, that was the first time where I was like, okay, now this game appeals to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the one guy in the world that's been like, I don't get Starfield. I mean, look, maybe it's because I just have PTSD completing Skyrim so many times, but like,
I was gonna say just preemptively, maybe don't play this one.
Literally, my friend AJ was next to me. He leaned in and said, I wouldn't complete it if I were you.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, probably not. But there was something Heroic about completing it that made it interesting. The fact there's like over 1,000 worlds, and this was the first time where I was like, now that I've seen enough of this game and know what's expected of it, like I feel confident in wanting to try it. Before I had zero interest.
Sure. Yeah, the last showing I wasn't into it. Now I am.
Yeah.
For me, what clicked with this, I think it was obviously that they threw all of it at us. They're like, look at everything.
And apparently that's not even everything.
Yeah.
Which is what is left.
Like, holy shit. Yeah. So the thing for me that I was like, oh, okay, I think this is going to be the best aspects of Oblivion, Skyrim for me, which is like I barely ever, like I stumbled to the end of the story hours and hours later because I was too busy just kind of engaging in the world and messing around. Because I want to build a ship, I want to like role play and try and make like a Star Wars guy and like have fun and like do space stuff. It's the story stuff that like it hits me like a brick. None of it really has appealed to me.
Sure.
Anytime they highlight the collective of characters, like the spacefarer people, they all kind of look like randomly generated NPCs, which they kind of said they were, like proudly, like they're like, oh, like the faces are all going to be based on, like they're all using the same system or something more technical. Like none of it seemed very interesting. They also didn't talk a lot about the story, and anytime they showed anything, I was like, I don't think this is going to be the part that gets me. I think it's going to be more about just like
I feel like
being weird in space.
I feel like outside of Fallout, and this is my personal opinion, everyone, I've never been a big fan of like the Elder Scrolls as a franchise for storytelling. It's just,
I think it's about the small stories. The main quest lines generally aren't great.
Yeah, that's my vibe.
You walk up at a village and you're like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Oh, actually, we have vampires living here. Didn't you know that?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like figuring that shit out is actually really rewarding.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main quest lines in terms of core narrative, not great.
Yeah.
That's true.
We'll see though. It's a lot. It seems like it is definitely a big game.
I'll tell you what, the modding community is just gonna eat this game alive when it's ready.
I just hope that it's, I mean, there's something about Starfield that's been a little bit po-faced up until now in terms of the way they've presented it. Thank you. In terms of the way they presented it. But I feel this one, they let themselves get a little bit zany.
Sure.
You know, like the woman who was stealing sandwiches.
Yeah,
it was nice.
She was MVP. Yeah, she was good. I agree with you.
And so I want to see more of like the weird stuff you can do in Starfield, because that's going to be where that's what I enjoy.
Of course,
I really enjoyed in that presentation how much time we had outside of just Todd Howard. Like we got it was so fun seeing so many people just be like, this is what I love about my job imbued in the game, because very often we kind of get stuck behind like the auteurs, the Sudas, the Kojimas and the Todd Howards, and you kind of are like, that one person's responsible for this whole project. But
no way.
It really showed us that like, it takes a village to make something like Starfield.
Yeah
for sure.
My other lingering questions are just like, the combat seemed a little bit more appealing this time we saw it, but still can't judge that yet. And then the 30 frames per second on console.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
I don't care.
I'm also in the same boat. I don't care.
As long as it runs well.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the thing that matters most to me.
If it's below 30 FPS,
then it's
then we have a problem. Sure. But if it actually runs consistently locked at 30.
Did you guys see the IGN article where they're like, oh, if Bethesda does manage to release this at a locked 30 FPS, this will be the highest frame rate, most stable game they've ever released. Like they said that totally straight-faced as well.
No, they put that
and I was just like,
man.
But then,
that's right. I played Skyrim on PS3.
That's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't based on the quote from Matt, so that they released that earlier in the day. So Matt Booty, when he was on the Giant Bomb show, he said, "Oh, I've seen the bug reports, and even I think it was like at this point it will be the least bugs ever in a Bethesda Game Studio game.
I mean, interesting.
Which is, I mean, it's already been clipped. People are poised and ready to post that.
Yeah. They're like, we'll see about that. You know,
it's free money for YouTubers. Yeah.
Oh no, because then I'm just sat in the corner being like,
yeah, the 30. I think it's hard. It's always so hard to talk about frame rate because the reality is it depends. Like that's it. It depends. Like you look at a game like Redfall and you're like, sorry,
big
update
no for Redfall today.
What big update?
Yeah,
was there? They
released a big patch. Apparently.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
oh wow! And
they
did not mention that in the showcase. But like you look at Redfall and you're like, I'm sorry, there's no excuse that this should not run at 60 FPS. Like there's just not. Like, yes, I'm not a game maker. I'm sure that there's some game makers who are cringing right now, being like blah blah blah. But like for real, there is a way to get that game running at 60 FPS. And in fact, it is going to happen because the developers have promised it. They just couldn't get it done in the timeline, right? And then you look at Tears of the Kingdom and you're like, that thing is running on a fucking calculator and it's doing the most advanced mathematics that any human mind can conceive. It's doing it all real time, all the time. And that game runs at generally around 30 FPS. And that's a fucking miracle. You know what I mean? So I think it depends every time. Personally, with Starfield, I would have liked it to have been 60. But obviously, they're focusing on their world. There's a lot of objects in a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
That's a big focus for them. They even talked about the fact that you can pick everything up. Sure, they're going for visual fidelity. They're going for the size of their worlds. Like, I get it. And I'm like, it would have been nice if it was 60, but I don't think it's the end of the world that it's 30. And
are you going to play on PC?
Fuck yeah.
Then you're fine.
Then you're fine.
Yeah. The modding community within months will have... the whole thing running at 60 with high fidelity would be fine.
No, I mean, well, that it would already run at 60 on consoles. Oh, sorry, on PC. But the modding community can't get it running at 60 on. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. So, it should look, if it doesn't run native 60 on PC, like then that's gonna be diabolical. Like the PC community will lose.
You think on day one?
Oh, absolutely. If you can't get that game running at 60 FPS through settings and high-end hardware, then that will be a fucking scandal.
So the conversation is that it's 30 on console.
Of course, yeah.
Gotcha. I thought it was going to be 30 on.
No.
Yeah, no. Just otherwise, people would be a lot more angry. You'd be a lot more angry.
I still don't know if I care enough.
I just want it to work.
Sure.
I want it to be competently put together, which we'll see.
No, I agree.
I've grown I went from being like, oh, I don't like having to choose between like prioritizing this or that. I'll just play on PC. But now that I'm playing a console game where it's like the choice is made for me, I'm like, wait, no, I like those choices. I don't care about 4K. Because they're like, it's 30 FPS, 4K, and I'm like, I don't care about 4K as much, you know?
Yeah, but I think again that's where it all starts to depend because it's not just
always a case by case.
Exactly, it's not just the resolution of 4K. It's like the number of things that are going on in this game at once.
The sandwiches.
It's quite the sandwiches.
So many sandwiches.
It's quite vast. And again, you compare it to something like Redfall, a much simpler game in terms of the number of things that are happening at any moment. And it's like, well, so that's why it's tricky to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not like I'm not losing my shit over 30 FPS on a console Starfield. You know what I mean? So, but look, I will say as well that I was just really blown away by that presentation. Like, I genuinely was.
Yeah, you came out and I was like, wow, look at this guy.
I was like, look, I was ambivalent towards Starfield. I'm like, I think it's going to be fine. I've always said that. But I'm like, wait a second, maybe this could be really fucking cool. You know, like I really was just, they nailed that. And I'm actually really excited for Starfield now, which I never would have anticipated I would have said. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
They did it. So
I decided I'm going to end the game if I'm allowed to.
Here we go.
I'm gonna gun down all those space cowboy guys because they look silly. They don't look like they fit in.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't look like they fit in the rest of Starfield.
All the space cowboys.
Like, they look like Fallout 4 guys walking around. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
I agree.
You got a settlement that needs help?
Did you see the comparison shots of like the old cowboy town versus the new one?
Yes.
And the visual. I swear to God, Phil Spencer must have just come in there in the last 12 months with like a money hose and just sprayed this game with all the money. And they're like,
like the Ghostbusters 2 goo.
Yes,
exactly. Nobody references Ghostbusters 2. Thank you.
I'm the one guy that likes Ghostbusters.
It's so good.
2.
Vigo.
Are you joking?
It's Vigo.
I love him.
Why are you okay?
Are you joking? Greg Miller.
Greg Miller likes Ghostbusters 2?
Greg Miller likes Ghostbusters all.
Right, but
but
the typical Ghostbusters fan
they're
will...
not as keen on
No, genuinely.
On 2,
no,
one is
he
good.
made me watch 2. Yeah,
he made you.
Yeah, no, genuinely, like Jen had family in town and he was like, all right, well, family movie night, let's watch Ghostbusters 2. So yeah, no, it's okay. Greg's
I like Ghostbusters 2 a lot.
Hope you enjoyed that clip of the Friends Per Second podcast. To check out the full episode, head over to SkillUp's YouTube channel or search Friends Per Second everywhere you get your podcasts.